another episode of ECCB Connects. This is a production of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank designed to showcase who we are, what we do, and how we serve you. On this episode, we sit down with ECCB's own Sharmyn Powell, Director of the Payment, Modernization and Financial Inclusion Unit. In this episode, she shares about her nearly 30-year journey at the bank. Stay with us to learn more about Sharmyn Powell and what's next for her after her 2-year secondment in Switzerland.
Are you connected? Have you liked the ECCB Connects Facebook page and subscribed to the YouTube channel? It's quick and easy. Next time you go check in for the latest scoop on Facebook, just search for ECCB Connects and hit like. While you're at it, check us out on YouTube. Search for ECCB Connects and hit subscribe. And just like that, you're connected. But don't keep it all to yourself. Invite your relatives, friends, associates, and even your Facebook stalkers to get connected too. Hey, you're not on Facebook? No problem. Send us a WhatsApp message to 662-2561 and we'll connect you to our broadcast list. So come on, get connected.
With an illustrious career in central banking, spanning almost 3 decades, today we sit down with Sharmyn Powell. Sharmyn, welcome to ECCB Connects.
Thanks, Patrice, and thanks for having me.
Sharmyn, as mentioned earlier, you have been employed at the Central Bank for nearly 30 years, and you have worked in several departments, assumed several leadership positions, and you have been named the Chief Risk Officer of the organization, and you have led the FinTech Group Working Group, which we saw 𝐷cash come out of. Sharmyn, tell us about your journey at ECCB.
So, Patrice, I started here in June of 1996 in what was then the Banking and Operations Department. That was what is now Currency Management Department, Accounting Department, and Banking and Monetary Operations Department. So those 3 departments that are now separate formed the Banking and Operations Department then. So I worked in Foreign Exchange Unit where we dealt with foreign exchange transactions for both commercial banks and member governments. And we also provided the daily rates to commercial banks for their foreign transactions. Then from there, I moved to Budget and Payments Unit within the accounting section of the department. And that unit was responsible for payroll payments, staff loans, and making all the payments on behalf of the bank. Then from there, I was promoted to Deputy Director of Budget and Payments Unit. And at that time, the departments had already split. So we had Accounting Department separate, Currency Management Department separate, and Banking and Monetary Operations Department separate. So we had the Accounting Department, and I was a Deputy Director in that department. My next stop was Currency Management Department when I was promoted to Director. So in 2008, I became Director of Currency Management Department. During that time, I was able to lead the implementation of a new currency management solution. In January of 2013, I then moved to Support Services Management Department as director there, and I was there until September 2016 when I was transferred and appointed as the bank's first Chief Risk Officer. That was a big change for me. I'm an accountant by profession, and even though risk management was already a part of the bank's program, having a separate function meant closer scrutiny and having to develop the framework from the ground up. So I was charged with developing the enterprise risk management framework, rolled out across the bank, as well as augmenting the bank's business continuity management system. And during that time as well, I was appointed chairperson of the bank's FinTech Working Group, which was the group charged with the 𝐷cash pilot project. That, I think, was probably the most challenging part of my career at the bank because central bank digital currencies at the time was relatively new. And so there was no example to follow. We had to make our own mistakes. We had to chart our own course. But it was very interesting. I learned a lot. I grew a lot personally and professionally. And I was put at the fact that we were able to actually do the pilot project, roll out the pilot project for the 𝐷cash in March of 2021. We did the official launch of the 𝐷cash pilot project. And that project ran until 2024, January, when we ended the pilot. So I would say my career at the bank has been rather interesting. It has been a growing experience. I have learned a lot. And I would like to say I've contributed significantly to the institution over those almost 30 years.
Congratulations to you, Sharmyn. 30 years in this industry is no easy feat, and you have accomplished quite a significant amount of milestones. So much so that you were named FinTech Leader of the Year. You were also among the list of the 10 most inspiring leaders in risk management, the top 5 leaders in FinTech driving impact in 2025, and you were also included in an MSN feature as one of 5 female leaders who went from vision to visionary. In addition to these accolades, Sharmyn, you were able to contribute to a book with a chapter entitled Success DNA. Sharmyn, tell us about your work ethic and how it best aligns with the DNA of success.
So I approach my work in terms of what can I do to help others? How can I give my best? So whatever I do, I give the best I have. Whatever I do, I try to elevate somebody else. I try to help other persons. So throughout the years in the bank, I would like to believe that persons speak about my positive attitude to work, always giving my best, up for a challenge. I don't back down from a challenge. I give it my best, I give it my all. And even now, thinking back on my career and having gone through the process, I still reflect on, okay, who have I helped as I went through the process? And who else can benefit from what I have learned? So coming back now to the bank, even now, I'm thinking about, okay, how can I apply what I have learned to advance not only the bank, but advance persons in the bank? When I was doing the chapter for DNA Success, I think it kind of humbled me, because then I realized how much I had achieved over the years, because I never stopped to think about it in that way. It forced me to think about my achievements, actually writing them down, and also about the challenges I've had to overcome in getting there, because success is not easy. There are a number of challenges. And I think for the first time, I actually sat down and thought about exactly what I would have, the road that I traveled to get where I am today. It was very humbling. I owe a lot to the ECCB because, I mean, if I'm here for 30 years, you show how much my professional life has practically been here. And the opportunities that I've gained being here has allowed me to reach where I am today.
You mentioned that you've never backed down from a challenge. As such, it comes as no surprise that you've recently completed a prestigious 2-year secondment at the Bank of International Settlements in Switzerland. Tell us about the work that you've done there and how you are able to contribute now to the ECCB after this secondment.
The secondment at the BIS Innovation Hub, the Swiss Center is called, I did work in mostly tokenization. So there are 2 main projects that I worked on while I was there. The first project was Project PROMISA. That project focused on the tokenization of promissory notes, which are notes held by governments with international development banks, so for example, the World Bank, the IADB, etc. So through central banks, these governments issue promissory notes where they promise to pay the World Bank or the other development banks. So we worked on a project for a proof of concept to show that we can actually tokenize promissory notes. Currently, the process for promissory notes is very manual. It's a piece of paper that you issue that has to travel around the world. When there's a payment, you have to take a paper out of the vault, right on the back of it that the payment was made. It's very manual. Reconciliation is a nightmare at times, as well as having a single source of truth, because different persons have different papers in their possession, and you have to reconcile that process. So we did that. We successfully completed that project in 2025, and the report was issued in early 2025. I also worked on a Project Agora, which is a project that spans 7 central banks from 7 jurisdictions and over 40 financial institutions around the world. And that project is about tokenization of deposits and improving cross-border payments using a platform. For that particular project, I think one of the things that really stood out for me was the size of the project. So you had persons from over 50 institutions coming together on a single project. So the networking was amazing. The learning was really at a different level. I really considered I learned quite a bit being on these 2 projects, as well as interacting with persons across the BIS, not only in the Innovation Hub, but across the BIS itself throughout those 2 years. How I can use that knowledge to now help the ECCB. So having been charged with the responsibility for payments modernization and financial inclusion, I can now apply the knowledge I've learned in Switzerland to my work there.
Sharmyn, it sounds like you had many aha moments in Switzerland, and I'm happy that you were able to have such a wonderful experience. So the big question is, what's next? You're now leading a new unit in the bank. What would you say is the day one priority for this unit?
So having been charged with responsibility for payments modernization and financial inclusion, my day one priority is to set a roadmap. What is it we want to accomplish? I know that one of the goals that we have is the implementation of a fast payment system for the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union. So of course that is a top priority for us. There's also the CAPS program, which is a pilot program among 4 central banks across the CARICOM region to look at cross-border payments, interlinking these central banks, cross-border payments in local currency. So that is also another major area that we're looking at, and the governor would have spoken about it in several press conferences in terms of the role that we are going to play in that project. So day one, set our roadmap, set our priorities, establish milestones as to what we want to do the first year, second year, even the first 6 months. So it's now basically just changing the focus a bit more to focus more on payments modernization and financial inclusion. So we're not starting from scratch. There's something to build on. It's just changing our focus a bit in terms of more tangible results. We want a fast payment system. We have the CAPS program. We want to promote financial inclusion. So the question is, how can we now position ourselves to really positively and contribute to these areas and make a mark? So that is my priority, setting those goalposts that we can work towards these achievements.
How can we ensure that any citizen of the ECCU is not left behind, especially as we discuss financial inclusion and payments modernization from the digital economy?
To start with financial education, I think financial literacy is a big part of financial inclusion because you can develop the best products. If persons are not knowledgeable on how to use them, they will still be excluded. So I think one, expanding financial literacy across the region, getting into all the small areas, meeting people where they're at, and trying to elevate their knowledge of financial products, so improving financial literacy overall. Then the next step would be to work with our financial institutions to make sure that they can develop and issue products that can help these people, recognizing that not everybody can do the credit cards or the mortgages, etc., but there are other smaller products that can help the ordinary person who may not be financially savvy. Governments as well play a significant role because they are the big spenders. They receive a lot of income from persons. So we have to it's a collaborative approach I think we have to embark on to make sure that we have the products, we have the buy-in, and we have the cooperation among all different players to ultimately, to the benefit of the ECCU citizens. In terms of my closing thoughts, I'm really looking forward to my new role, having returned from the BIS with additional knowledge, exposure, experience. So I'm really looking forward to be able to share this information to benefit the region, to benefit the bank, help persons across the bank develop their capacity, expand their capacity, and wherever I can assist in terms of making the bank better, making the region better, that is what I intend to do.
Thank you, Sharmyn, for being a part of today's ECCB Connects, and we wish you continued success in all of your endeavors.
Thank you, Patrice.
And now for this week's financial tip.
Make use of saving plans where money is automatically deducted from your salary and deposited on a separate account.
This makes it easy to forget this amount, leaving a pleasant surprise at the end of the savings period.
We have come to the end of this week's episode of ECCB Connects. We learned about Sharmyn's milestones, her transitions throughout the bank, her secondment at the Bank of International Settlement in Switzerland, the expectations for the newly formed Payment Modernization and Financial Inclusion Unit, and how the work of this department will improve the lives of the people of the ECCU. Do join us again next week when we will be back with another episode of ECCB Connects as we continue to share with you who we are, what we do, and how we serve you.